Hey everyone, Jonathan Goranson here, your commercial real estate specialist. Welcome to the Industrial Insider. I got a special guest on the docket for you guys today. A good client of mine, Zach from Ripple Developments. I'll throw it over to Zach to give him a little bit of his own introduction and a little bit more of what he's up to. Then we'll talk a little bit about a deal that Zach and I just completed about 4 to 6 months ago, and what his plans are with that deal. And then we'll touch into what's going on in the marketplace, what trends we're seeing, what he's seeing, what I'm seeing, and we'll go from there. Zach, why don't you start off with an introduction? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're up to, where you've been, where you're going. We'll go from there.
John, thanks. First of all, congrats on your new podcast.
And thank you.
It's nice to see that there's a CRE podcast kind of more focused in industrial. Most of them are pretty generalized, so to have an industrial one's awesome. So well done for putting that together.
I appreciate it.
So a bit about myself. I'm Zach from Ripple Developments, and we focus kind of on value add industrial. Some of the past projects we've worked on are condominium conversions of existing multi-tenant industrial buildings, and now we're looking to do new construction industrial condos as well. So we've been hard at work wrapping up a conversion in Mississauga and going through our site plan process actually on 45 Eric T. Smith. So that's a deal you brought to us, and it was great doing business with you. It was a 4.2 acre parcel in a subdivision that was put together by the city, I guess 5 or 6 years ago, John.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bulk Barnes head office is in there. A number of local Aurora businesses are located there. It's just off the 404 at Wellington. And we kind of looked at the market and said, hey, there's an opportunity to kind of offer a product to smaller businesses and to build these units that'll be about 3,500 square feet on average. We're very excited about it.
So was there anything from that deal that you really thought this was going to be a success, or when you started looking at the site, you're like, you know what, this is a great project to work on? Like, what were some of those things that you saw that were like green light, we need to get this deal done and do our development on it?
I kind of have to speak to the broader market in the sense that there's not a lot of land opportunities out there. So when we're looking, it's not like we have 10, 12 opportunities at any given time to choose from. They only come up once in a little while. And in this case, the size of the site worked out really nicely. The location was great. It was the right time to kind of execute on the strategy. And the pricing has gone up so much, and I think we'll kind of touch on that a bit later again, but trying to find good value isn't always the easiest. So
Yeah, I think that's probably a good segue into our next topic in terms of market conditions. Like, what are the trends? Where is the market going? How do we educate people or users that are trying to get into the market, users that are selling their assets, trying to get out of the market? Like, what are the type of things that you're seeing in the market? Like, are you seeing a lot of opportunities that you can't keep up with? Are you seeing no opportunities? Do you see opportunities that don't even make sense? Like, what are you seeing in the market?
In my particular case, we kind of cater to small businesses that aren't really focused on their real estate day to day. They're busy running their businesses. This isn't a thing like me and you where we're thinking about what is the market, where is it going, what are rental rates, where are rental rates going. And for these users, what I've been finding is maybe they signed a lease 5 years ago. They're coming up on that 5 years, and they're coming, call it, their head above water and looking around at what the current environment is. And it's a lot of education on my part to go like, this is what the new pricing reality is, where rents have gone from $5, $6, $7 to 12, 13, 14. Are you finding that the same for you as well? Like,
Yeah, I think
you have to educate your clients.
Yeah, you're definitely hitting on a big topic that I run into on a constant basis. As you said, a lot of guys that are running businesses aren't tracking the market. They're not really seeing the trends on a month or a quarterly basis. They're really popping their head out of their window every 3, 5, 7, or even 10 years to really check the market. And especially in the GTA or in Ontario as a whole, the market has completely exploded over the last, let's say, 36 to 48 months. Like I was looking at offers that I drafted on buildings probably about 36 months ago and offering on those same buildings. And I can't even tell you pricing has more than doubled on the same asset, and not as much has changed with the building. It's not like they raised the roof or the tenant mix is better. Like, not a lot has changed. Cap rates have just compressed so much and values have just exploded.
Yeah. Like, so like, what do these tenants say to you? Do you go, well, I can't pay that, I'm going to go somewhere else? Or do they have to end up eating it? And like, how do they cope?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on the situation and where the tenant is in terms of their business, and if do they own other assets, or like, it's kind of there's no really cookie cutter answer. Like, you really have to tailor each solution to each tenant. Like, let's say a tenant can't afford it, maybe they need to look for a location that's outside of the GTA, like Aurora. That might be a great solution for them, rather than looking for an asset in Vaughan where they currently are. So there's a discount to moving there, and it makes the payments a little bit more palatable than in their current environment.
Fair enough. And I guess it's the same story with land too. I was actually reading an article the other day where kind of between 2009 and 2016, land prices were going up at about 5.7% per year.
Yep.
And then from 2016 to 2021 or 2020, it's 22.5% per year. Like, it's pretty crazy what's happening there. Why do you think they've gone up so much? And then I'll tell you why I think.
Well, I think there's a couple things that are really driving land prices in general. One is obviously the limited availability to actually buy ready-to-go development land. Like, everything takes so long to get it on stream, meaning services, site plan approvals, all these things take forever. Yeah. And like, there's so much land that's blocked in Ontario to get access to. It's a bottleneck. Let's face it. And another reason is, like, that's probably the biggest reason. And then our industrial market has just grown so quickly that we just can't keep up. Like, it is what it is, and it's great for the economy, but that's another reason why land prices have just shot through the roof.
The market in the GTA was sleepy for like 30 years, and like $5 for forever. And then now it's gone insane because my thinking is there was an oversupply of industrial kind of after the fallout from the early 90s. And it took 25, 30 years to kind of catch up. Fast forward, you have kind of the green belt in place. You have these land policies in place, and the municipalities aren't really spending their time or putting their resources into building industrial subdivisions. So it's kind of left to the private guys building these subdivisions, and they're not building subdivisions. They're building million square foot Amazon distribution centers. So that's great, and it's needed, and it's fantastic that's being built. But I guess it's challenging for you. And what I'm hearing is from users kind of 0 to 100,000 square feet. They're like, well, where do I kind of fit into the equation?
Exactly. Like economies of scale is a big thing in construction, and that's another reason why we have such a shortage of buildings that for users that you're referring to. Like it's a big issue. Like the economics don't really make sense to put up a 20 or a 30,000 square foot building. So where do all those users go? Like it's become a big problem.
Do you think prices are going to continue to go up in the drastic measure they have, or kind of we'll see a plateau and leveling out?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a real plateau over the next 6 to 12 months. I think as we get through this pandemic and things start to settle down in the economy, like I don't think we'll have the same robust increases in the market over the next little bit. Like I just don't see how it can sustain itself. I always said before all of this pandemic and stress on the economy, I always said there had to be some major disaster in the economy to shake up values, and we had that and we survived it. So I think it's really going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 6, 12, 36 months, or really what happens in the industrial market and how users and tenants and landlords react. Because as we know, landlords are very bullish. Debt is cheap. Like all of those things are a perfect storm to increase the values of our real estate.
What are rents in Pine Valley Business Park these days?
Oh man, they're probably low mid teens right now for.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I call that the King Street West of industrial.
Yeah. When did you ever think industrial real estate would hit those types of values? Like it's just, those are huge and scary numbers for tenants.
Yeah, it's like office numbers essentially.
Exactly. Well, I didn't want to take up too much of your time, so I wanted to say thank you for joining me on my podcast, giving me a little insight on what you're working on and what you think and what you see in the market. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or even Zach. My direct line is 416-471-0904, or shoot me an email at jonathan@leonard.com.